YouTube family, I am back with another video for you guys. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe down below so you guys can be the first to see all of my YouTube videos that are coming your way. So today I'm going to make another kind of about my pregnancy journey, I guess we're gonna call it. I already posted a video about the loss of our daughter, and so I shared that video with you guys. And so a lot has happened from when we lost our daughter, and so now I'm gonna go ahead and share the rest of that stuff with you guys, all the details. So after we lost our daughter, when I was in the hospital, the midwife that was there like the day that I had her, she wasn't there like during the delivery, but like after the delivery when I was like recovering and stuff, she was the doctor that was there. And so she had came in to basically like check up on me and make sure that like everything was good. And I just remember like one of the first things that she asked me was, she was like, so are you thinking about getting on birth control? And so I was just shocked by that, because I'm like, are you serious? I just lost my daughter. Like, I had still had London in the room with us, because I don't know, I just couldn't like part from her, and I just wanted to keep her as long as I could. I didn't want them basically to like take her away. I didn't want her to go to the morgue. And I know like people that have gone through still births, everybody reacts differently. I know my sister-in-law, she had one, and she basically didn't want to see the baby at all, didn't want to hold the baby. She was just like, as soon as she delivered it, she was like, take it. And so yeah, so everybody reacts differently. I wanted to hold her, I wanted to keep her there. I really did not want to let her go. And so at this point, I still had her next to me, and it's like, are you seriously asking me this right now? And I was just pretty upset about that. I was like, I'm literally grieving from the loss of my daughter that I had been trying basically 5 months to have, and was pregnant with her for a whole 6 months. And now you're asking me to get back on birth control that I purposely got off of just to have her. So like I said, I was just very, very upset. And so anyways, I just had basically told her, I was like, I don't know, I just have to think about it. And I just explained to her like how I felt. I'm like, for 6 months I had been basically preparing to be a mother. I had baby stuff that my family had gotten me. We had bought stuff for her. I had a crib, I had already made a baby registry, we was planning the baby shower. And so yeah, I was just 100% full-heartedly prepared to be a mom. And it's like, I just lost the baby, and it's like, I want to be a mom. I want to have a baby. I wanted to at least have one. I mean, originally I wanted to have a lot of babies, but once I experienced pregnancy and the first trimester, I was like, okay, after this baby we are done, because I don't want to deal with the morning sickness. I don't want to do this whole pregnancy again. I'm done, one and done. And that's literally like, still to this day, that's all I want. I just want one baby, and if I could just have one baby, I would be so happy and so content. So anyways, so then I went to, I think I had a 2-week checkup after her, and so I went to that. And so when I went to that one, it was with the midwife that I basically wanted like my whole entire pregnancy. But like, I only got to see her a total of, I think, one time actually, like while I was pregnant. I had just seen her before I had lost London at that doctor's appointment. And so I ended up seeing her for my 2-week visit. And so when I went to that, I just basically explained to her what I had, or how I had felt. I explained to her what, the other midwife had said to me, and just basically how I had felt about that. And, you know, we just kind of came to the conclusion that it was best, like, not to get on birth control. And then I went back again for a 6-week checkup, and I, like, discussed it all with her again. And she basically just kind of had recommended, she was like, I just feel like birth control is not the best option for you, because it was like I said, I wanted to have a baby so bad. I wanted to be a mother. And, you know, and now, like, being pregnant and preparing to be a mom, and then now, like, not having that baby every single day, like, it is so hard. It is like the toughest thing that I go through every single day. And then seeing moms with their babies, and, you know, or like pregnant people, and or pregnant women, obviously. Sorry, I don't know why I said people, but yes, it's just so hard to see them, because I'm like, I wish that was me. And then especially like people that had their baby around the time that, like, I should have had my baby, I'm like, that's hard too. Like, I should have a baby like you. I should have a baby around the same age as you. And I just don't. And so, yeah. And so I had basically, you know, explained that to her. And I had told her, although, you know, in that breath of how I want to have a baby, in the same aspects, like, I actually had graduated from college with my bachelor's degree a month after losing my daughter. It actually wasn't even a full month. It was only like a couple weeks, because I had lost her on November 25th, and then my graduation was the beginning of December. Don't quote me on what day it was. I don't remember, and that's probably bad. I probably should remember when I graduated from college, but that was a crazy time, and I do not remember the date. But I know it was the beginning of December, so literally, like, it was only a couple weeks after losing my daughter. You know, it was still very fresh, the loss of her, when I had graduated. And so I had basically, you know, explained that to her. I was like, you know, I just graduated from college with my bachelor's degree. You know, the career field that I'm going into, you can't really be pregnant, you know, to get a job, because, you know, I have a bachelor's degree in criminal justice with a minor in sociology. And so it's like a lot of those jobs, like, you know, if I wanted to be a police officer, you know, corrections officer, yeah, a lot of those jobs, one, you have to do a PT test before you even get hired. And then also, if you're pregnant, they don't, you know, basically let you, like, do that duty. You know, if you're a police officer, you could put on desk duty. And with corrections, I'm not really sure, but I mean, I just know for sure they would not let you around, you know, the inmates, because anything can happen, and, you know, you can injure the baby, you can get hit in the stomach, lose the baby, you know, whatever. And so I was like, you know, I kind of want to get into, like, my career field before I get pregnant. And, you know, I want to start that. So then, you know, I'm in my career field. I have a good paying job. You know, I'm doing what I want to do. Basically am able to support me and the baby. And so I had, you know, explained that to her. But, you know, she also knew my history. She knew that, you know, I had been trying off of birth control for 5 months to get pregnant. And it took me, you know, the whole 5 months to get pregnant. And so she just basically had advised me. She was like, I just feel like birth control is not a good option for you. She was like, I feel like, you know, you shouldn't get on it, because basically if you get on it and then wait until you get a job and then get off of it, you know, then it could take you a long time. And she was like, I just recommend, you know, you kind of do like self-protection, you know, at home or whatever, and just kind of go about it that way. Well, me and TJ are not very good at that. So on February 20th, this was a Thursday, so like Thursday night, I ended up taking a pregnancy test because I was having like some pregnancy symptoms. But the crazy thing was, is like I had just had my period like 2 weeks before that. And so I just took a pregnancy test, and to my shock, it was positive. So I was like, okay, but it was like a faint line. So I was like, okay, well, this is like, you know, Thursday night. It was after work, and I get off at like 5, so it had to have been like later that night. And so I'm like, okay, this is, kind of crazy. So I was like, well, in the morning, like, with my first urine, I'll take another test. So that morning I took another test. Again, it was positive. So I'm like, okay, well, I had told TJ, and, of course, because we had the plan of, me getting into my career field, he wanted to get a better job. I'm just like basically pay wise, because already he has an amazing job. It was more like I needed to get a better job because my job offers like maternity leave, because it's by law they have to give you like the 6 weeks off, but that's all I get is 6 weeks, and I don't get paid time off. So, I wanted to get into a job where it's in my career field to where, they have those benefits. They give you paid time off, so while I'm off, I can help support my family and not just completely rely on TJ to wholeheartedly support us. So, yes, so I had told him, and he just was not very excited about it. He was, kind of upset, and so I was just, kind of stressed about it, because I was like, we aren't ready. Neither of us have better paying jobs. We're both, where we were at. So I'm like, things aren't going to be different. Things aren't going to be better. And yeah, so I was just, I was pretty stressed. But then after like the initial like stress, then I was like, I just kind of calmed down, and I was like, God has a plan. If this is God's plan for us, then, this is what's going to happen. And so, yeah, so then I was less stressed out. TJ eventually came around. I think it was just like the initial shock. I mean, because we both was kind of, shocked just how soon it had happened. And so, yeah, so then we started to come around, and we started to prepare, like, okay, we're pregnant, we're gonna have a baby. But then 2 days later, on Sunday, I started bleeding. But like basically the whole time I was kind of like spotting. So like that was also like kind of weird. But so Sunday I woke up, and I was like, I was spotting again. And but then like as the day went on, it started to get like progressively heavier. And so I was like, okay, like I don't think this is normal. Like it wasn't really heavy. Like it wasn't it was about like a period, like bleeding. It wasn't any heavier than that. And they say like if you're soaking through a pad like every, I think, like hour, half an hour, then like that's a concern. And like I definitely wasn't bleeding that much, but just to me, because when I was pregnant with London, I didn't have any spotting. I didn't have the implantation like bleeding, spotting. I didn't have none of that. I didn't spot through my whole entire pregnancy, nothing. I had no type of bleeding. So this was very different for me. But I know that a lot of people do spot. And a lot of people even have said like that they had an actual like period through their whole entire pregnancy. And so, I wasn't really that concerned about the spotting, but then as it started like progressively get worse, and then I had like bad cramps with it. So I was like, okay, I think this like isn't normal. I think I need to go and get this, checked out, and, just see, am I having a miscarriage, or, is this normal? Like just basically what's going on. Because also like I said, it wasn't even time for my period. I had just had a period 2 weeks earlier. So it's not like I'm just pregnant and having a period while I'm pregnant. It was just way too early for that. So we went to the hospital, got all checked out. They did the urine. It came back that yes, I was pregnant. The doctor was shocked. They was like, you said that you just had a period 2 weeks ago. They're like, we're so surprised that you're getting a positive like pregnancy test already. And I was like, whew, join the club, because me too. And so yeah, so they did that. Then they did a vaginal exam, like checked all that out. They said that my cervix was still closed, that it wasn't open. Then they sent me to get an ultrasound. They did like the ultrasound on my stomach, didn't see anything, which obviously, I mean, I figured I was really early on, so you wouldn't be able to see that. And so then they did the vaginal ultrasound, and still with that, they the girl that was doing the ultrasound, she said that she wasn't allowed to tell me anything, that she had to wait for the radiologist to look at it, and he was the one that, like, the only person that could tell me anything, so she basically couldn't even tell me anything. But then my doctor ended up coming back in with the results, and they were like, so on ultrasound, like, they're not seeing any signs of pregnancy. Oh, and they also had done blood to check my HCG. So they didn't see anything on the ultrasound. But then with the blood, my blood came back of an HCG level of 44. So that showed that, like, I definitely was pregnant and that I was, like, early on. And so basically off of everything, they couldn't conclude whether I was having a miscarriage or not. So they were like, we're going to schedule you for another blood test in 2 days. Because they were like, if it's a healthy pregnancy, then, you know, that HCG level will double every day. So your HCG level should go up. If it goes down, then that shows that you're having a miscarriage. So 2 days later, I went back and got my blood drawn, and it had went from 44 down to 16. So that did show that I was having a miscarriage. So that was tough. That was really hard. But, you know, like I said, God has a plan, and, you know, it wasn't our time. Yes, it sucked because, you know, like I said, I wanted to be a mom. And then just also having, you know, a stillbirth at 6 months, now having a miscarriage. It's just like, you know, as a woman, you're like, what's wrong with me? Like, what's wrong with my body? Like, why can't I hold a baby? Why can't I have a healthy pregnancy? And it really sucks, and it really hit hard. But, you know, I just dug deep. You know, I prayed to God. I mean, I've kept my faith, but, you know, it's been hard. There's been so many trying times because it's like, I just don't get it. It's like, you know, why, God? And it's like, I see all these people out here that, you know, are able to have babies, have kids, and, like, some of them, I'm like, they don't even deserve to have kids. You know, there's people that, you know, abandon their kids, you know, do nasty things to their kids, and it's like, they're able to have kids. But me, somebody that would love, adore my kids, you know, spoil the crap out of them, it's like, I'm not able to have one. And so that just definitely hit hard, and it was very, very tough, like, very tough. And so, yes, so that just basically was where I went. Then my midwife contacted me, you know, afterwards, and we had a visit because I'm trying to think if this was, like, around the time when, like, there was the corona, or what it was. But basically, I didn't do an office visit. I just did basically, it was supposed to be a video chat with her, but I guess, like, the video chat wasn't working, so it turned into just, like, a phone call. And so basically, I just ended up talking to her, like, about it and everything. And, you know, she was just saying that basically, like, she doesn't know because with London, it was a court accident. With this, you know, it was just way too early on to, you know, basically, you know, no, it was just some mishap happened. And so, anyway, so she just said that, you know, like, for my next pregnancy, as soon as I get a positive pregnancy test, I would have to go and get my HCG level checked, like, right away to see what my level is. And then after, sorry y'all, that was TJ coming back in. But so yeah, so I would have to get my HCG level checked right away to see basically how far along I am, and then they would put me on progesterone to basically make sure that it's, like, a healthy, viable pregnancy that I can carry full term and end up having my precious little baby. So, yes, so that was the whole game plan. Well, then, on April 9th, it was around the time for my period, I believe, or maybe my period was a little early or a little late. I'm not sure. I don't know. I know it was just something weird. But, and also, I was having very, very heavy bleeding. to where I was going through a pad and a tampon every hour. And I have never had heavy bleeding like that, ever in my life. Like, never experienced like that much bleeding. And so I was like very, very concerned. And so I was like, okay, like, am I having another miscarriage? And like, I just didn't know that I was pregnant, or, you know, what is kind of going on. And so I had went to the emergency room, and this was during the corona. And so because they had, like, the one that I went to by where we was living, it was deemed a corona hospital. So because it was deemed a corona hospital, they were seeing all these corona patients, and so they like basically outpatient me to a gynecologist office to have a doctor there basically examine me and see what was going on. All right, sorry, he wanted to come in, say goodbye to me. Sorry, he's interrupting this whole entire video, but it is fine. We Gucci. We're gonna get this YouTube video done. But anywho, so yes, so I went to go see this OB, and she did another vaginal exam. They did a urine test. I think that was it. But anyway, so my urine test, it came back negative, that I wasn't pregnant. And then when she did the vaginal exam, I don't really know exactly what she was looking for, but I know she was looking to see like if she could like basically see any issues on why I'm bleeding that bad. But when she did the vaginal exam, she said that everything looked good. So that was good. But then she scheduled me for a sonohysterography. I'm probably not saying that completely correct, you know, I'm just sounding it out. But anyway, so she scheduled me for one of those, and she said that like that can basically like, it looks at like my whole uterus and all my goods down there, and just basically like will show them if there's anything wrong down there. And they was saying that there could be like, I forget what they're called, but these little like, I think they're like ulcers or something like on my uterus. So where like maybe the eggs, the fertilized eggs, are like trying to implant into that, and then because like it's obviously an ulcer or whatever on my uterus, it's not able to stick to my uterus, and so that's why I'm miscarrying. So yes, so she did that. I went in and did that. Everything looked good. She actually was really shocked because she was talking to me, and the ultrasound technician was like going through like the ultrasounds, because they took actual like pictures of everything in there while like live looking at it. Because basically, so I'm just gonna explain the procedure. Basically, they put dye up in my uterus, and it's almost like you're getting a pap smear, but like while they're doing basically kind of like the pap smear, they're putting dye on your uterus. And then they go in with the vaginal ultrasound and like basically look around at everything. And if I would have had like one of those little ulcers or whatever they're called, I'm probably definitely calling them wrong thing. But if there's one of those, the dye will basically show that that's there. Like they'll be able to see with the dye. So they did that. Everything was good. She, like I said, the ultrasound technician had taken pictures. So afterwards, when the doctor was talking to me about everything, telling me that everything looked good, that they didn't see anything, she was scrolling through the pictures. And my doctor must have seen like pictures of my uterus, and she like paused and she was like, oh my gosh, you have such a pretty uterus. And she was like, that is literally like a OBGYN's like perfect uterus. Like that's what we want to see, and you know what we imagine when, you know, we want to see a good uterus. And I'm sitting here like, oh my god, like what, like thank you. I don't know, like I don't know what to say. I'm like, thank you for telling me that, but obviously my uterus is failing me because something is wrong here. We are struggling. So anywho, so yes, that looked very good. And then another thing that she said, like when she was like starting the procedure, she was telling me, she was like, you have a very small, tight cervix. So she was like, you're never gonna have an issue with your cervix, because sometimes, I don't know what it's called either, I don't know none of these medical terms, but sometimes there's this thing where like your uterus like doesn't stay closed and it opens, and so people will have like miscarriages or will have like their baby premature due to that. And so what they do sometimes is they have to go and like stitch it up basically so the baby can't come out too early. And so she just basically had told me, she was like, that will never be an issue for you. And I'm like, oh, good. Like, let's just check off all the things that it can't be, but yet we're still having an issue here. So something else that she had done was she did a whole 9 yards blood work, because she was like, maybe it's an issue with your thyroid. And she was like, that could be something that's like, you know, causing the pregnancy issues, or it could be your, I think, estrogen level, and like something else could be off to where like that's another reason why you're having miscarriages. And so yeah, so she did the whole 9 yard blood test. It all came back perfect. So apparently your girl is perfect, but just can't carry a baby. So yes, so that all came back good. And so basically since then we haven't really had any issues. But, you know, when she was doing the test and when I was talking with her, she just basically had told me, like, you know, for my next pregnancy, like, once I do get pregnant, I would definitely be high risk. I would have to see a high risk OB. And, yeah, it's going to be a lot for my next pregnancy. I'm not going to be able to, you know, have the normal pregnancy. None of that. But I think it's good that I'm going to be high risk, because then I'll have, you know, more ultrasounds, more appointments, and that way if there, you know, is something wrong, they'll be able to catch it sooner. Because it's like, I asked her, you know, with the whole thing with London, with the court accident, like if they would have done an ultrasound between like when I was 14 weeks, when I had my ultrasound for the gender, and when I had lost her at 26 weeks, I was like, if they would have seen something, like, would there have been anything that you guys could have done, or would you have been able to see it? And she basically had told me, she said yes. And so basically what they would have done then is like put me in the hospital and monitored me until I basically delivered the baby, or if something went wrong, then they would take me into emergency C-section. So that was, you know, very like reassuring. And so yeah, that's basically where I'm at. But as far as, you know, my body, I can tell that my body has definitely been through a lot, and it's definitely recuperating, because like my periods have just not really like been on. Like after London, I was having a period like every single month, like on point, until I had gotten, you know, pregnant and then had that miscarriage. Then the period after the miscarriage was kind of like, it was obviously a whole different like week than what I normally had before that. And then I had like probably like a normal like on period, so it was like that period, and then my next period was like on the correct time. But then after that, so then the period after that, then I think it came late. Like it was kind of late. And so now ever since then, like my periods just kind of fluctuate. Like they're not on the same week every single month, which is definitely frustrating. And then I get like really bad cramping like in between my periods. And is that all? Yeah. But it's just like, you know, I can definitely tell my body has definitely been through it, and it might take a minute for it to, you know, heal all up. But, you know, that's basically what I'm doing, is I'm just giving, you know, my body time. And then so after that second miscarriage, another thing that they had suggested was like me to just constantly take prenatals. So I constantly take prenatals, just also in case, like, you know, I get pregnant again. But right now that's not really the goal. We're just trying to heal my body. But, you know, vitamins is good for your body no matter what. And so hopefully the vitamins, along with everything else that I'm doing to try to heal my body, hopefully my body will get healed, and sometime in the future I'll be able to have my precious little baby. So thank you for watching my YouTube video. Make sure to come back to my next video and stay tuned.